Hello, everybody. It is January 11th, 2021. Happy New Year. We are back with our Ask a Scientist, Ask a Nurse video series. And today's question, well, I suppose I should introduce us first. I'm Dr. Emelinda Webb, and I am joined here today by Dr. Eleanor Hempsey. Uh, we're going to be working on trying to answer the question, will the vaccine be effective against the new UK strain of COVID-19? So before we start talking about the new strain of COVID-19, let's do a real quick review of how the vaccine actually works. So Eleanor, can you?
I would love to talk about that as quickly as I can because I know this is review. Um, but essentially, the vaccine is going to generate inside you bits and pieces of the actual virus. And in particular, a lot of the vaccines are targeting the spike region because that's kind of the dangerous part. It's the part that forms a key that can fit into the lock that is receptors of our human cells. And that's how it gets in and does its business. And so that's what the vaccine looks like. And in response, one of the things your body's going to do is make antibodies, which can actually stop the virus from being able to get into cells, prevent that key from fitting in the lock, and also target it for destruction if you do get infected. So um, variants are going to have some changes here, both on the spike region, and those are the ones we're most concerned about, and non-spike region. And I'll let Dr. Webb now talk about what we know about those variants in a bit more detail.
Thank you, Dr. Hempsey. So you might have noticed one of the things that was on that slide was that these variants of COVID-19 are still 99% exactly the same as the other variants. So it's a very, very small change in the genetic code of these viruses. But the thing is, even when we're talking about like 23 changes in the genetic code, that's enough to change the spike region. So we've actually got three different strains. Everybody's probably heard about the UK variant, but then there's also the South African variant, which has been more recently recognized. But then just today, I was checking the news and I see that there is a third mutation that has shown up in Japan. These are all unrelated. The interesting thing is that the mutation's actually similar. So it's something that is called the N501Y mutation. So it's actually that it's on the spike protein. So it's how it actually attaches to the cell. And it's a change in a single amino acid in this long string of amino acids that make up the protein that is the spike protein that attaches. But because it's in the receptor binding domain, it attaches more tightly. So it actually is going to lock in there even better. And that's what's making these variants more transmissible. So all the evidence shows they're not more deadly. They're actually not causing worse outcomes for people who are infected with it. It just means that more people are getting sick. And because we know that there's a certain proportion of people who will get really sick and even die from COVID-19, the more people who get sick, the worse it is. So that goes back to, will the vaccine actually be effective against these new variants? Now, that 99% similar number is the really important one. And even when we're talking about the spike protein, the UK variant has 9 mutations on the spike region. The Japanese new version has 12 mutations on the spike protein. There's a few more actually in the South African variant, and that's actually the one they're the most concerned about. But the majority of the spike protein is still the same. So those antibodies that our body is going to produce. So the mRNA vaccine is going to basically give us a copy of the spike protein. That's what the antibodies are built for, even though it's the old version. So those antibodies are still going to recognize, oh, hey, this is mostly the same spike protein. We're going to attach to that, and it's going to help provide some protection. So all of the research that I've seen and all of the people who know this and are talking about it say it's not going to render the vaccine ineffective. There might be a slight reduction in how effective it is, but it should still work.
Is there any evidence from early studies to see that the vaccine is offering any protection? I know it's early days. The vaccine's only been rolling out.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. So there has been a study on the Pfizer vaccine where they actually identified 20 participants who had been exposed to the new UK variant, and they had very similar outcomes to the rest of the participant study body. So that basically means, yeah, it's only 20 people. It's a really small, kind of a preliminary pilot study. But that's really good because it shows that so far it's behaving the same as the previous versions of the COVID-19 version, back virus.
And we know that, I mean, we talk about these variants, but the reality is there's probably thousands, maybe more than that, of variants out there. So
Mhm.
what does happen if there are variants that evade our vaccine even more than, that there's a possibility that these ones might, but what if there is one that becomes prevalent out there that evades our vaccine? What can we do about that?
That's the other good part about using mRNA vaccines, because as soon as we sequence it, we know what the genetic changes are in that spike protein. That means that we can turn around, and it takes about 6 weeks, a month and a half to update an mRNA vaccine. That is so much faster than any other vaccine updates that we've been able to do in the past. So we can actually keep on top of this, even though we're seeing some slowness in the rollouts of the vaccine and the distribution, but the science can stay up on this. And even better than that is that just having the first version of the COVID-19 vaccine, doesn't matter if it's Pfizer or Moderna or AstraZeneca or whichever one it is, that's still going to improve your chances to A, not catch it, and B, even if you do, if you have the vaccine or if you've already had COVID-19, you're going to have uh, basically less severe symptoms. So there's no reason not to get vaccinated. And so far, it looks like the vaccine is still going to be mostly effective, if not entirely effective.
That's excellent. That's so exciting to hear.
Yeah, it's way off my mind for sure, especially since we always keep finding new pieces of news and new questions. So,
Yes, yeah.
all right. Can you think of anything else?
I can't. No, I think that's what I know.
All right. Well, please keep the questions coming. We are happy to try and answer them as they come in. So feel free to reach out to anybody on the team, and stay safe and sign up for the vaccine as soon as you can, because it's not just for you, it's for everybody. Remember the herd immunity? Signing off.